This is the Varsity Sports Show on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Your home for youth, high school, college sports, and you. Empowering education and enabling dreams.
Now here's your host, Vince D'Alicio.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Sunday. Welcome to the Varsity Sports Show on ESPN Radio, 97.5, 92.5 Houston. You may be hearing a new voice for the first time. Well, I'm Thaddeus Mitchell, and nice to meet you. I'm from Texas Southern University and a senior graduating in December with a bachelor's in radio, TV, and film. I'm very thrilled to be your host for the very first time on the show and give you some great programming. I also have two other interns who did an excellent job last week who will also be on the show with me. We have some great content for you to listen to today. From our incredible team, starting with Mark Buerger from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. He will give us some insight on the Houston Marathon happening on June 2nd, the Houston Rockets offseason preview, some college recap on the University of Houston's baseball team, and an interview with Coach Jones from Aledo Highschool in Texas. Robert Diaz, also a great intern from the University of Florida, will give us the lead on the Houston Texans, Houston Rockets, Houston Astros, and a little bit of college football from the University of Houston. We also have two special guests today. In the coaches spotlight, we have North Forest High School's head football and track coach, Clifton Terrell. And Vype Media's Matt Malatesta will speak with Vince about some top performances in baseball and softball from this season. Stick around and open your ears because there's a lot of great news to hear. If you're interested in being an intern on the Varsity Sports Show, hit us up on social media. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and even LinkedIn. Or you can email us info@varsitysportshow.com. Enjoy the show, and always, thank you for listening.
This is Mark Buerger from the University of Wisconsin-Madison, reporting for the Varsity Sports Show. We have some fun things happening in Houston as the summer approaches, so let's get right to it. The University of Houston baseball team just wrapped up their season in 2024. This past season, the Houston Cougars moved from the American Athletic Conference to the Big 12 Conference. The growing pains of moving to a larger and competitive conference showed, as they went from 36 wins in 2023 to just 26 wins in 2024. Also, they went from a 17-6 conference record in 2023 to a 7-21 conference record in the Big 12 in 2024. They also missed the NCAA tournament for the fifth straight season, not counting the COVID shutdown in 2020. However, there is some good for the last season, as senior outfielder Kerry Elbolita put up solid numbers to end his senior season, with a batting average of .359 with a team leading 17 home runs. In addition, senior infielder Harold Cole will be graduating after putting up 13 home runs, second on the team. Both of their leading home run hitters will graduate, so the offense may take a huge hit next season. Their only pitcher with a sub-3 ERA will be graduating as well, as Justin Murray put up a 2.18 ERA in 17 bullpen appearances. Based on the raw numbers from the previous season, it may be the incoming freshman who will have a big role already for a program who has not made the NCAA tournament since 2018. The Houston Rockets failed to make the playoffs for the fourth consecutive year, but improvements were made and the future is looking bright for this Rockets squad. Last season, they finished at 41-41, first time approaching at least 500 since the 2019-20 season. The previous season in 2023 showed only 22 wins, so this past season in 2024 was a 19-win improvement. The Houston Rockets had a veteran in Fred VanVleet who showed major promise, averaging 17.4 points per game on 41.6% field goal shooting and 38.7% three-point shooting. But it is also important to appreciate the young and rising talent, which includes Jalen Green and Jabari Smith, who both averaged double figures in the 2023-24 season. Ime Udoka coached the Rockets last season in his first year, and he showed that he can take a Rockets team from 22 wins to just 5 games out of a play-in spot in his first season. That is a dramatic improvement in a one-year span. But the question now stands. What improvements are they looking to make ahead of the 2024 NBA draft? A young core has been established in Houston, but more could be added. The Rockets are selecting a third overall this draft after receiving this pick from the Brooklyn Nets. This allows them to have a variety of options this early in the draft. The question is, what could they add to strengthen their young core? According to Fansided.com, some good fits for the Rockets in the draft include 6'6" Nikola Topic, who can put pressure on the defense and find holes in the defense for his teammates. Ron Holland is another prospect of interest as they need another strong winger. Finally, Alex Starr is another strong prospect, as he could go 1 or 2 in the draft. If he falls to Houston, the Rockets could elect to select him at third overall, as pairing him with Alperen Sengun would make a strong front court. In addition, they could elect to go another route, which would be to pair more veterans with their young core. The Rockets have had Cavaliers player Donovan Mitchell on their radar, and he could be a huge addition to this young squad if the Rockets make a deal with Cleveland. Also, Trae Young, Darius Garland, or Brandon Ingram are on the trade block, and the Rockets may want to take a look at them as well if they want to pair more veterans with a promising young core. Whether they elect to load up during the draft or load up with veterans remains to be seen. But the Rockets feel that they are just a couple to a few pieces away from becoming a strong contender in a very competitive Western Conference.
Houston, Texas!
I'm Robert Diaz from the University of Florida reporting for Varsity Sports. The Houston Astros have reached the 50-game mark at 22-28. Here's what lies ahead for them. Joe Espada, Astros manager, anointed the Astros' just-finished 10-game homestand as an important one before it even began. The manager referenced 2 series against divisional opponents, but invoked a broader reality. For the Astros to overcome their poor start, they must make a push, and they made a very good last-second push. Houston's longest homestand of the season ended with a 2-1 loss to the Angels on Wednesday. Still, the Astros went 7-3 across it, sweeping the A's in 4 games and winning 2 of 3 from the Brewers, who lead the NL Central, before losing 2 of 3 to the Angels. Over a stretch of 16 games in 16 days that started May 7th, the Astros went 10-6. They lost their first 2 games in New York, following a season-high 12 games under 500, then won 10 of their next 14, leaving them 22-28 after 50 games. As Espada said, quote, "I think we played our butts off, and I see the urgency in our players. We've got an important road trip ahead of us, but the way we're playing baseball, I like the way we're going about our business," end quote. Another impacted run of 13 games in 13 days begins Friday. The first 7 are against AL West teams with series in Oakland and Seattle. This presents a huge opportunity for the Astros to make up more ground that they had ceded earlier in the season, as well as answer some of the looming questions. One of them being, when Jose Abreu returns, how will Joe Espada divide playing time at first base? Jose Abreu just accepted his assignment in Florida to play in AAA before coming back to the majors. However, Abreu may come back as soon as next week, which could create a playing time situation. Abreu has a hefty contract. He's in the second year of a 3-year, $58.5 million deal. This all but forces the Astros to try to extract whatever value they can from him. Espada attempted to find matchups for Abreu before his demotion, but his acute struggles made it incredibly difficult. Abreu was 7 for 71, which is batting under a buck, under 100, before the move, and he was rated a minus 1.2 wins above replacement, or WAR, in 22 games, this according to Fangraphs. Another looming question is who is going to be out of the rotation? Or will no one be out of the rotation? Ronald Blanco is set to return Sunday from his 10-game suspension for a foreign substance violation. This is going to restore a 6th starter to the Astros roster. The Astros are going to play 13 games in 13 days starting Friday, so they could use a 6-man rotation in this stretch, but they may stick with a traditional 5, and we are not sure who's going to be the odd starter out, or possibly 2, because Jose Urquidy's impending return from injury would leave 7 options, and eventually they're going to go to a 5-man rotation, so 1 or 2 pitchers will likely have to be sent back to AAA. The most likely starters to be sent back are Spencer Arrigati and Hunter Brown. Arrigati has a 7.61 ERA in his 7 starts, but his last 2 outings have arguably been his best. But the Astros will likely send him down to keep him in AAA, so then that way he can keep on developing. A third question that will be answered in the coming weeks is whether or not Christian Javier and Chase McCormick can find their form. Javier's start Thursday against the Angels invited some concern. His average fastball velocity was down 1.5 miles per hour from his season mean and ranged from 88.2 to 91.1 miles per hour. He ended up giving up 4 runs on 8 hits and exited after just 4 innings. The start was Javier's third since the IL stint for a neck problem. Javier said afterward he's physically okay and believed his lower velocity resulted from erratic mechanics, an issue since his return from the IL. Miller described the mechanical issue as a little bit of slack in Javier's delivery. Javier had a 1.54 ERA in 4 starts before his IL stint. His 3 outings since have been wildly uneven. McCormick had a breakout 2023 season. He was projected to be an everyday part of Houston's lineup. However, after returning from the IL, his timing at the plate has been off. McCormick hit 22 home runs last season. However, he does not have a single home run in 86 plate appearances this year. Only time will tell if the Houston Astros will be able to make a serious push for the playoffs. Will they be able to break over 500? Will they become true contenders? Or will they stay pretenders and take a back seat for this disappointing season?
You're listening to ESPN 97.5.
Wounded Warrior Project helps post 9/11 veterans and their families realize what's possible. With support and resources that bring warriors together and empower them to become stronger, both inside and out.
It's possible to begin healing.
To get the help you need.
To find peace.
And as each warrior's needs evolve, so do we. Because these last 20 years are just the beginning. Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/possible.
Hey, you got better things to do than think about your electricity bill, but how do you avoid the surprise of a high bill at the end of the month? Here's what I do. I rely on the guys over at Champion Energy. With their low-price, fixed-rate plans, there's never any surprises. Plus, the team at Champion sends me weekly usage reports with my projected bill amount. Again, no surprises. They also remind me when my contract is about to expire so I can lock in on low prices. Visit champion.energy to view a variety of fixed-rate offers. That's champion.energy. Promo code 1560. Promo code 1560.
Hi, this is Harold Gunn.
And this is Bill Olson. Texas Outdoor News is the longest-running, most award-winning outdoor radio show in the state for a lot of good reasons.
We bring you the latest news and information about hunting and fishing across our great state and beyond.
And our guests are who's who from industry, government, and the field.
Texas Outdoor News is brought to you by Ford Trucks and your best in Texas Ford dealers. Join us Saturday mornings at 6, Sunday at 7 on ESPN 97.5.
Has your roof started to experience leaks or been damaged from recent storms? When it comes to roofing in Houston and surrounding areas, Brinkman is the only name to trust with your roofing needs. Brinkman's team of professionals will work with you, and only if necessary, your insurance company, to get your roof repaired or replaced with as little inconvenience to you as possible. There's no substitute for Brinkman quality. Visit them at brinkmanquality.com. That's BRINKMANN quality.com.
Jeremy Branham here from my good friends at HR&P. For nearly 25 years, Mike Hawley, U of H class of 1990, has led HR&P, protecting the interest of Cougar-owned businesses. HR&P provides comprehensive human capital management services, including HR compliance, benefits administration, and payroll. Cougar-owned businesses let HR&P customize a plan to rid you of the demands of human resources. Eliminate your HR burdens with HR&P and get back to growing your business. Learn more by visiting hrp.net/U of H.
Now back to the Varsity Sports Show with Vince DeLisio
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
Time now for I Want Winners Coaching News.
All right, guys, it is time for the Coach's Spotlight, and joining us today, it's one thing to coach multiple sports at a school. It's another thing to coach multiple sports and both sports at a high level and win in both sports. And our guest today is doing just that. His name is Clifton Terrell. He is the head football and head track coach for the North Forest Bulldogs. Coach Terrell, welcome to the Varsity Sports Show.
Hey, thank you.
So happy to have you joining us today. And I wanted to spend time, and we've, as we do this every week, we really want to get to know the coaches that join us, talk a little bit about their history, how they landed in the positions that they're in, and maybe share some insight along the way, some things that, some bumps and bruises maybe that they got that were for the better, that helped them, get better at what they do, and how they maintain such an incredible amount of success. So, going back to your history, you don't just suddenly fall into being a head coach at the level of a North Forest. How did you end up, was it football or track first, and how did you get there?
Track was first. I was very successful in middle school. I had when I was in middle school, I one of the top programs in the city of Houston, in the middle school area. We set a lot of records. So I moved over to high school in 2000. I took over the girls track program at Forest Brook, and we won several districts, regional track meets, and I had girls go to state and won medals. So at the time, I wanted to coach football also. So I got under Coach Holmes back in 2000 also. I was a track coach, girls track coach, and I was a defensive line coach. And Coach Holmes was an excellent man for me to get under and learn a lot of football from. He had a veteran staff. So from there on, I just started working my way up. And I guess I was under several head coaches. And when HISD took over, I was under Coach Terrell. And he was the first coach from the merger, when they merged HISD with North Forest.
Okay.
So I stayed with him for a couple of years, and I was his defensive coordinator. So when he got the job in Bradford, he recommended me for the head coaching job. So I've been there ever since.
Do you feel like coaching in the lower levels with the younger kids, you and I'm probably asking a leading question here, so forgive me for doing so, but do you feel like you spent more time learning and reinforcing fundamentals at that level, or were you right head on into X's and O's? I mean, what was that like?
Fundamentals. You hit the nail on the head right there. Fundamentals. Okay. And I see that now. Most of the coaches on the middle school level, and I teach them fundamentals. And when I get them over there with us, we got to go back and teach them the stance, how to, just the basic things of football that they didn't learn in the middle school.
Sure.
So I remember when I was in middle school, I was very hard on the kids learning the basics, how to get in the 3-point stance, 4-point stance, and 2-point stance, and how to place their hands. So, yes, it was very important that the basics in middle school.
Talking to the head football, head track coach at North Forest, Clifton Terrell. Coach Terrell, as you look at the success of your athletes, do you have a lot of athletes that play both sports, that are football players and track athletes? And is it because you are the head coach of both sports that you encourage, hey, it's off-season time, guys, let's go out for the other sport, or how has that been?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you hit the nail on the head again. Because I encourage kids, be multiple sports. When the scouts come there, they say, well, Coach, do we play another sport? I say, yes. And I say, it'd be good for me to tell them yes. And when I put them on those prospect sheets, hey, this guy's a wrestler. He's a track guy. And I say, most of the time the NFL guys, what they make their money on the speed. So you got to come out there and run. I don't care what position you play. You got to have speed. So that's why I encourage my football players. Most of them, I say, hey, you're going to play 7-on-7, you run track first. Or, we're going to make a compromise here. Play 7-on-7, but you run track first. You don't run track, you can't play 7-on-7. So that's how we work it.
Now, I know that we're in the midst of wrapping up, the track season now, but let's talk a little bit about football season. You had a good win-loss record this year. I believe you finished 7-4 on the season. Is there one particular moment, one game early in the season where you thought to yourself, "Wow, we're pretty good at doing this. If we keep doing this, I think we're going to be okay"? What was that? How early in the season, and what was that moment?
It was the first district game. We played Yates. We was up on Yates 14 points, and we kind of fumbled the ball a lot and made mistakes and things like that. And we ended up losing that game because we drove down the field, chance to win the game, but we got a holding penalty that brought us back. And I realized, I said, hey, we're going to be pretty good. We should have blew this team away. We just stopped making the mental mistakes. And so we got with the coaches, and I met with them that week after the game that Saturday. We talked about mental mistakes. And we got together with the players on Monday and said, hey, we need to cut down on mental mistakes. We let a game get away, and we can't let that happen again. So we went on through, and we ended up losing one more district game, though. That's,
Yeah.
So, but that was a turning point right there. Taking on to the season. The season before that, we were 3-7. So we kind of
interesting.
Swapped,
so big turnaround there.
Yes.
Okay. So it was. Excuse me. It involved, again, starting to think, playing smarter, and things were going to be okay. Let's fast forward ahead to track season, and when opponents look at you and they look at your team, what do they fear the most? What is the event that you are known more than any other? Let's say throughout the history of your track program, through the years, what's it been and what is it this year?
My 100, 200, and 400 events.
Wow.
This year I have a girl. She's going to, this is her third year going to state. I had one. She started her sophomore year. It shocked me, my assistant coaches, and everybody when she made the state her sophomore year, because she came in and we didn't think she was going to make the finals and regional and everything. And she made it, went to state, and finished fourth in 100. All right, came back the following year, sophomore, junior year, and she just tore the track up and everything. She went to regionals and went to state, ended up getting second in state this past year. And now she's going back now. She's going in the 100 and the 200. And she favored in the 100 and everything. So she got the fastest time going in the 100 this year. So I said, hey, it's your time to win. And she's confident. Her name is Corey Moore. And I told her last week at the regional, and it was bad because we had to extend the regional because of the weather. But she was just, I heard her talking to a couple of kids. I'm going to win. I ain't worried about it. I'm just going to win. And I told her, slow down. You might be over 200 confident. I just don't want to, I knew she was going to win too, but I didn't want her to think I was bragging also. But she went out there and blew away, and people came up and told her. But my team rides on her back. I just said my team rides on her back.
Coaching,
and,
No, I apologize. I cut you off. And that is amazing. And the fact that you've got a young lady that's basically carrying your squad.
Yeah, she's squat. She don't even weigh 100 pounds.
Wow.
She's squat. I got her midget. She might be 5 feet, 4'11". I say 4'11", something like that. So you look at her walking around, you say, who is that?
Yeah.
But she's down on mics and everything like that. And she made the all-elite team last year. She's going to TSU on a scholarship. So she's good.
In an age where everybody's carrying a phone, kids, parents, everything, How hard is it to be a coach?
I kind of, first I used to read it, everybody taking videos and posting things like that. But now I say it's time to change. Times have changed. So you got to either get on board or get left behind. So what I do, I'm into it. I always post it. We got an app called Sports U. The kids say, sure. Every time I take a picture, they say, I know you're going to post on Sports U. So they know I'm going to post it and everything. So I think it's a way to get my kids out there so people know them, especially when they're doing good. And I don't post nothing negative or anything like that, but I post everything positive about my kids or my program. Like today, the football team, we won a sportsmanship banner from the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in the Touchdown Club. So we had a little ceremony where they presented us the banner to hang in our gym. So we took pictures and, posted on our Sports U app, posted on Twitter. So I'm with social media. I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
If they're using the right one.
That is incredible, Coach, and way to adapt and make it a part of your program. So North Forest Bulldogs head football, head track coach Clifton Terrell. Coach, thanks again for joining us here on the Varsity Sports Show, and we look forward to circling back with you during football season. Oh, thank you. Welcome to come back anytime. I would love to be on your show.
I think we all know when I say coaching is not easy, especially when it comes to track and football. It definitely isn't something anybody can do. We thank you, Coach Terrell, for joining us today on Coach's Spotlight on the Varsity Sports Show. We hope that you can continue to inspire the youth and for the North Forest Bulldogs to keep achieving. After the break, Vype Media's Matt Malatesta joins us to talk top performances in high school baseball and softball from this very season. Don't go anywhere because the Varsity Sports Show will return here on ESPN 97.5, 92.5 Houston. Thank you, Coach Terrell.
ESPN 97.5.
My name is John David Carpton.
Dr. Kimberly Stegmeyer.
Dr. Edith Barrett.
I'm a medical oncologist.
And I focus on cancer prevention.
People are always asking me, why?
Why do I do this work?
2 words come to mind for me. One is responsibility. The other is purpose.
There was a child that, I took care of and adored, and she said to me, Dr. Kim, will you remember me forever? Sorry. It's been a hard year.
Every day I think of the faces of patients when I see their smiles, when I tell them that new treatments are helping their lives.
It's just so inspiring to do research that impacts human lives.
Stand Up to Cancer has been a critical partner in advancing research for cancer.
Cancer research saves lives.
So please help us fight in this battle against cancer.
Be a part of the team that ends cancer at standuptocancer.org.
Hey, Branham here. Have you thought about artificial grass for your yard? Well, let me tell you about Sinlawn. They're the industry's best when it comes to quality artificial grass and installation. Sinlawn is for your yard, your kid's playground, a dog run, a putting green, even a patio. And just think, with Sinlawn, no more mowing, watering, or putting chemicals in your yard. And no more dirt and mud in the house from kids or dogs. Learn more at 975sinlawn.com. That's 975synlawn.com.
Innovation has always been the hallmark of Pro Dunk basketball goals. Their latest innovation is a game changer. John Granato here. Pro Dunk goals have been adjustable for years, allowing you to raise and lower the height of your goal. But now you can use their patent-pending Lightning Adjust feature to change the height 10 times faster. It's so easy and fun to do, the kids will love it. Check out the new Lightning Adjust feature at ProDunk.com. The best basketball goals on the planet, ProDunk.com.
I'm the guy that never gives 5 stars because I never believe that anything is perfect. But I would give them 20 stars if I could.
Ernest Stellar Review belongs to QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative treatments. They came through when he badly needed relief for his aching knees, and doctors had told him that surgery was the only option.
What they're doing is cutting edge, and it really helps. And I'm a tough sell.
QC Kinetics is led by National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a pioneer in this field. With 20 years of clinical work, tons of research, teaching, publishing in non-surgical natural pain treatments. These are the medical pros to trust.
I'm living my life basically pain-free from what I was dealing with, so I'm a happy camper today, no doubt about it.
QC Kinetics. Call today to see if you're a candidate.
Call QC Kinetics, 713-913-5285. That's 713-913-5285. 713-913-5285.
It's time for the Vype Sports Report with Vype Media's Matt Malatesta on the Varsity Sports Show.
All right, guys, it is time for the Vype Media Report with our old friend Matt Malatesta. Matt, coming up on, we're right in the middle of Memorial Day weekend here, and this was a pretty big week for two spring sports and baseball, softball. Figured we would go, talk a couple of the divisions and maybe some highlights from the season, starting with 6A and baseball.
Well, I tell you what, one of the best teams in the state of Texas this year have been the Pearland Oilers. Last year, they reached the state finals. They lose to Flower Mound. They come back. They've got, I don't know if you remember old Jesse Barfield. His son is on the team. Okay. But they have, two Rice commits, an Oklahoma commit, and they have some really, they're loaded with pitching. And that, that really travels well as it relates to, playoff baseball. So they've had a tremendous season. But you've got teams like Cy-Fair and Clear Springs who have been a bit of a surprise, and got Tomball, who came out of the north, and Tomball has Cade Aaron Beatty, the number one player in the state of Texas, the catcher, going to LSU, but he's probably going to get drafted. And those have been kind of the storylines as it relates to 6A all season long. Atascocita has had a great run. Memorial has had a great run at Traditional Power as well. They've had a tremendous season with some really big arms. And usually they kind of bow out early in the postseason. They've had a really good run to the regional tournament.
Wow. Okay, so 6A baseball. Let's go 6A softball. Big storylines this season.
Katy Tigers are the number one team in the country as ranked by Max Preps. They can hit, they can pitch, they can run, they can do anything. They've lost 2 games all year, and it was kind of out of market. They have had a tremendous season. Callum Hack, he's the dean of high school coaches in the city of Houston. He could retire possibly if they end up winning a state championship, and he's had a tremendous year. Brassiswood and Peyton Tanner, she's going to University of Tennessee. She was a tremendous star all season. Kingwood, I don't know if you remember the name Krista Williams. Krista Williams was the biggest thing in softball probably 30 years ago. She played at University of Texas. She won a couple Olympic gold medals. She's the head coach of Kingwood softball, and they've had a tremendous season as well. So those are kind of the headliners in 6A, and just it's so rich in talent here as it relates to recruiting and top talent as it relates to teams that win state championships. There's so many. If you look beyond high school, there is a player on virtually every team that's left in the NCAA tournament from the city of Houston.
Wow. That is incredible. I'm speechless, but anyway, moving right along. Let's talk a little 5A baseball. Some highlights of the year.
Yeah, Lake Creek. What's kind of cool is Lake Creek baseball and Lake Creek softball are the talk of the town as it relates to 5A baseball and softball. Lake Creek, tremendous talent, A&M commit, on the mound, great arms, great bats. And, they've had a tremendous season. Barbers Hill had a great year. It's kind of spread out and a little bit thin in that 5A division just because there's not as many teams. Crosby had a good year.
Yeah.
So that's kind of was the who's who as it relates to baseball. Mag West won the state championship a year ago. They made a deep run in the playoffs, still playing as well. So Magnolia West is one of those teams to watch also. They completely shocked the state of Texas, winning state last year, and they got that look kind of again. In softball, you got Lake Creek. Lake Creek was the national champion in softball last year. The year before, they won state. And this year, they're super young. They lost everybody on their team to the college ranks. Florida, LSU, ULM, Tulane, all over the country they went and played softball. They keep chugging along, and they have had a deep run into their deep regional tournament as well. Lake Creek softball alive and well.
Wow. Okay. Matt, now let's transition to the private schools. Give us some highlights of the private schools. Baseball first.
All right, let's talk baseball. Second Baptist was another team banged up all season, got hot at the right time, and they knocked off perennial power Beaumont Kelly, who was the defending state champ. They beat them in the semifinals. They win the state championship in TAPS 5A. TAPS 6A, Concordia Lutheran gets to the end of the line. They beat the number one team in the nation, Prestonwood, but end up losing in the state championship game, which is kind of weird. But Concordia Lutheran had a great year. They're the runners-up in the state in the state world. So those two teams really carried the banner for Houston in private school. Now you have an SPC champion there. That was Episcopal. They play kind of in their own league. So Episcopal also had a solid season. And then in the softball ranks, St. Agnes is an all-girls school here in Houston, and they won at the highest level of softball. So kudos to what they have done. Episcopal completely dominated the SPC ranks. Allie Williams is heading to New Mexico. She had over 20 home runs, and she's an all-time leading home run and hits leader for Episcopal. So she was kind of the star of that team. So those are kind of the headliners as it relates to softball in the private school ranks.
Joined on the line by our old friend Matt Malatesta with the Vype Media Report. Matt, okay, I know we're going to make some people mad here, but I've got to ask the questions. Two questions for you. First of all, top to bottom, what team was the biggest surprise? The one that kind of snuck up on everybody and overachieved? Baseball first.
Well, I tell you what, let me go softball first.
Okay,
it's
softball
so
first.
Glaring of what happened. HISD is not known for softball.
Okay.
The Heights High School in HISD makes a run to the regional tournament. It's the farthest they've been in their history under a first-year head coach. And what's crazy about this story is, in HISD, it's kind of weird a little bit. He's an assistant football coach at Cashmere High School, which is probably 15 miles away from Heights. So then he drives to Heights after school and is their softball coach. And he leads them deep into the playoffs. They end up losing to Kingwood, 2 steps away from a state championship. That was an all-timer.
Wow.
Now, the team that's kind of been sneaky all year for baseball has been Memorial. Memorial is that team. They have all of this talent. Jeremy York is loaded with talent. They're right in the middle of the city, the heartbeat of Houston, right there in Memorial. And every year they kind of bow out in the first round, second round. This year, they have dominated their district, and they just playing with a lot more passion, let's say. And they've had a tremendous season. They're still playing right now. So watch out for Memorial. And it really is cool because of the talent that's come through there. Roger Clement's kids, they've both come through there. They've had, players at University of Texas, at North Carolina, all over the country. And they've never really kind of punched through the glass to make it kind of a deep run in the regional tournament. This is that year.
All right. Here's one for you, Matt.
I'm ready.
I love this because I could ask you anything about anything. You're going to be picking my lotto numbers here before the end of the day. What team, baseball first, came in with the most promise that maybe didn't quite live up to expectations, whether it be because of potentially injuries or whatever?
Well, the Woodlands High School. The Woodlands High School has won several state championships. They were the national champion a couple of years ago, coached by Ron Eastman, who has over 700 wins. They finished third or fourth in district play, and they just never got off the ground. They did have a lot of kids graduate last year, but, usually that place just completely rebuilds. They were a little banged up. Their pitching was not great, not really tremendous timely hitting, and they just didn't quite live up to expectations in the district. Now, going back to a surprise team that I failed to mention, Willis High School, complete out of the box. Maddox Keogh in the playoffs threw a perfect game in the first round, and in the second round threw a no-hitter. This guy is a lefty going to Rice. He kind of propelled them. They were that senior-heavy group that had never won anything. They've never won district. They've never won nothing. And this year they went district in a very tough district with the Woodlands, and they go deep in the playoffs. So that was really cool to see them. But the Woodlands kind of, you would probably say, the city of Houston would be like, well, what happened to the Woodlands? Will they be back? Yes, they will. But they just didn't they start off slow, and they just kind of petered out at the end.
Softball.
This is a tough one because this team is so good, but they lost at the worst moment. Barbers Hill. So in softball, over the past 4 years, Barbers Hill won state, Lake Creek won state, Lake Creek won state. Barbers Hill was trending. They were the number one team in the state of Texas in 5A, rolling. And they have tremendous pitching, hitting. They just got that swag to them. And they end up losing to Lake Belton, 2 steps away from the state tournament, which was kind of weird because they really, really had it going all season. And they just kind of stubbed their toe. And everybody was looking for a tremendous rematch between Lake Creek and Barbers Hill. The past 5 years, they've met in the regional final to go to state. And Barbers Hill, they're not invited to the party. They lose to Lake Belton.
Matt Malatesta with the Vype Media Report. Matt, thank you so much. Have a great holiday weekend, and we'll get back at it next week.
Sounds great. Hey, great talking to you, Vince.
This is Thaddeus Mitchell from Texas Southern University, and you are listening to the Varsity Sports Show. We'll be right back.
ESPN 97.5.
We're here with Mark Klein of Klein's Jewelry for Houston Safe and Lock.
Hey, this is Mark Klein. You've heard me on ESPN for years. I have jewelry. I have diamonds. There's nobody else in the city of Houston that I go to than Houston Safe and Lock. They keep me secure. They give me safes. If you need a buzzer for your door, you need security, you need cameras, you need alarms, you call Houston Safe and Lock. They've been around 50 years. They're the best in the business.
Keep your valuables and business safe and secure with Houston Safe and Lock. Go to 975safes.com. You have a toilet? Do you have a sink? Do you have pipes in your house? Of course you do. Then put this number in your phone, 281-488-6238. That's Aqueduct Plumbing. John Granado here. At some point, you're going to need Aqueduct Plumbing. They're professional, affordable, and offer free estimates. I can't tell you how many times my buddies have asked me for that number. Don't be that guy. Be proactive. Be responsible. Be a hero to your family. Put Aqueduct Plumbing's number in your phone now, 281-488-6238. That's 281-488-6238.
For more than a century, the Pendleton Roundup has defined what it means to be a cowboy. It also gave life to something equally renowned, Pendleton whiskey, capturing that unique spirit in every bottle and honoring the enduring legacy of the American West. Pendleton whiskey made with the finest northern grains and cut with Mount Hood Glacier water. A whiskey that celebrates the cowboy in all of us. That's Pendleton whiskey. That's true Western tradition. Pendleton is the official whiskey of the PBR Tour.
Pendleton Distillers, Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Please drink responsibly.
We're definitely going to be late to the concert. I feel like we should be there by now.
I'm just taking a little detour. I got to fill up my gas tank, and I know this place a couple towns over where the gas is cheaper.
Are you serious? We're going to be late for the concert because you're driving out of the way for cheaper gas? Just use Upside.
What's Upside?
Upside is the free cashback app that gets you real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait, I can get cash back just for buying the gas I need anyway?
Yes. I use it all the time, and I've made around $200. Now pull over so you can download the Upside app before we miss the concert.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas.
bonus. Use promo code 2024 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank, PayPal, or as a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code 2024 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code 2024 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus. That's code 2024.
Hey, you got better things to do than think about your electricity bill, but how do you avoid the surprise of a high bill at the end of the month? Here's what I do. I rely on the guys over at Champion Energy. With their low-price, fixed-rate plans, there's never any surprises. Plus, the team at Champion sends me weekly usage reports with my projected bill amount. Again, no surprises. They also remind me when my contract is about to expire so I can lock in on low prices. Visit champion.energy to view a variety of fixed-rate offers. That's champion.energy. Promo code 1560. Promo code 1560.
Now back to the Varsity Sports Show with Vince D'Alicio
on ESPN 97.5 and 92.5.
I caught up with Coach Jones of Aledo High School in Aledo, Texas, to get an inside scoop on his starting quarterback last season and who will be the starter next season at an historically winning high school football program. Well, yeah, and just looking over the statistics for your, I believe it was a senior last year, so I got to try to pronounce his name right, Haas Haney?
Haas Haney.
Haney, right. And he was a senior last year, correct?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Haas is at TCU. Haas was an early enrollee at TCU, so he went through spring practice with TCU. Actually was running with their second team all spring.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw that he did commit to TCU as a 4-star recruit. And so obviously I know you weren't the head coach maybe throughout the most of his college or his high school career other than just this past year, but what has it been like working with this kid over the course of his 4 years and just seeing his progression as a player and just as a person?
Right. Well, I was his offensive coordinator, so he's been a great. He's one of the hardworking kids. Sometimes you get the guys that are the really, really talented athletes, and they might not be the hardest working guy. That's the opposite with Haas. Haas was an extremely hard worker. He was a leader by example. Being as good an athlete as he was, and the fact that he was here every day in the summer and he was putting in the work that we're asking everybody to do, it shows that, he was bought into the program. He made big strides from being a starter as a junior to his senior year. He was a lot more comfortable with the offense his senior year, and I think it showed with his production.
Yeah, for sure. And him leading you guys to the championship last year was very spectacular to see, but just following up from that, have you just, even though the offseason basically just started, have you seen any large candidates between Gavin Beard, Austin Keith, and potentially Lincoln Tubbs? I'm just curious to see who you think is your leading candidate so far, if you have one, or do you think it's too early to tell?
Yeah, Gavin Beard will be the starting quarterback next year. Gavin's got a really strong arm. When some of the quarterback coaches were coming through this spring, they were very impressed with the fact that he could make all the throws and he had a really quick release and a strong arm. Gavin's issue is, he's a 5'10" quarterback, so he's not a 6'2", 6'3" guy that a lot of the big schools are going to go after. But he has as good an arm talent as anybody out there.
Well, that's awesome to see, and I'll definitely be following him a lot next year, seeing what he can do. And has he gotten any D1 offers yet? I mean, I don't know if he hasn't really started, maybe not yet, but.
No, he got one start last year. Haas missed the last regular season game last year, and Gavin started for us against Buerger High School, and I don't know all of his stats from that game, but he had a really good outing, as the starting quarterback. And we worked him in throughout the season. We were purposely getting him a series maybe at the end of the first quarter or the beginning of the second quarter, just so he was getting into games where there were meaningful snaps, because we knew there was going to be some point where, like what happened in the last regular season game, where he was going to have to be the starter. So we wanted to get him that experience.
Looking for something to do on the first Sunday of June? On Sunday, June 2nd, the city of Houston is hosting a fun marathon called the Red, White, and Blue Half Marathon. There are many options for participants to choose from, such as the Kids Dash, the 4 Mile, the 8 Mile, and even the Half Marathon. This gives all runners a variety of options to what level fits them best. During the kids event, registration includes a mini bib, youth-size t-shirt, and kids dash pin. If the child does not want the swag, they can race for free on race day. A Bigfoot trophy is on the line, so sport your patriotic gear and enjoy a fun marathon in Sugar Land, Texas. Finishers may also receive a comfy red, white, and blue half marathon tank top, custom Texas medal, a chip-tinted race bib. All of these races will start at 7 a.m. local time, so get an early start to your sleep before you show your USA pride at the 2024 Red, White, and Blue Half Marathon. In the event of a hot morning in Texas, make sure you bring lots of water and stay hydrated. Snacks and drinks will be provided as well. Also, are you on a tight budget? The Volunteer Then Run option allows runners to join the fun earlier on race day to help with packet pickup. In addition, even if you are not competitive, have some fun with your friends, family, and even coworkers. You can also have fun with DJ Sasquatch, who will be playing lots of fun music at the Race Rally trailer by the start-finishing area. This will all take place at 18427 Southwest Freeway, Sugar Land, Texas. Are you ready to sport your patriotic gear with your friends, family, and coworkers? Go to Sugar Land, Texas on Sunday, June 2nd for the Red, White, and Blue Half Marathon.
Here is a draft recap for the Houston Texans 2024 draft class. With the 42nd pick, they picked Kamari Lassiter, cornerback out of Georgia. The Texans went young, and they drafted the position of most need. They got a couple free agents in Jeff Okudah and CJ Henderson, but they only signed them to one-year deals, showing not very much confidence in the two. And Okudah and Henderson are on their third team in 5 seasons. What the Texans are hoping is that Lassiter gives them a long-term answer. Lassiter is very likely to start as a rookie. He's going to need to just beat out Okudah and Henderson, but both of those guys are on one-year deals and have struggled as they've seen 3 teams in 5 seasons, despite both being highly sought after. With their 59th pick, they selected Blake Fisher, offensive tackle from Notre Dame. This is a valuable offensive line selection. They're going to get depth behind Laramie Tunzel and Titus Howard. They might even slot him in at a different position, but right now it seems like a depth acquisition. Very, very solid offensive tackle to help out C.J. Stroud. And with the 78th pick, they chose Kalen Bullock, safety out of USC. The Texans needed to add a safety after Jimmy Ward's 2023 season-ending injury. He's going to be 33 years old, very unlikely to be injury-free, so they really, really need a good depth there. And Bullock, he had 9 interceptions in his college career, very, very good. Might even get a start here or there. There are some injuries in front of him. They took Cade Stouffer, the 123rd pick, tight end out of Ohio State. He reunites with his former college quarterback, C.J. Stroud. He had a very solid career and was first team All-Big Ten in 2023. They're looking to hopefully reignite that connection with C.J. Stroud. And then rounding out with a few picks that from round 6 and round 7, they had 5 picks. They all look to be serviceable backups. The University of Houston football team finished a disappointing 4-8 in 2023 with a 2-7 conference record, putting them 11th in the Big 12 Conference. They look to improve in 2024, starting off with their recruiting. And they may have made a splash in recruiting with consensus 4-star Jamarian Burnett out of Andalusia, Alabama. Burnett stands at 6'1", weighs 210 pounds. He just signed with Houston and looks to make an impact on the field. Another exciting recruit is Jayshon Ridledge, also out of Alabama. The 91-rated athlete on 24/7 Sports has the tape to back up his high rating. The Houston Rockets have the number 3 pick in the NBA draft. They are in the middle of a rebuild. However, they were able to manage to get 41 wins and finishing even 500 last season. However, that was not good enough to make it into the play-in tournament. The Rockets have a few options with this pick. One of the most notable options is to keep their pick and pick Donovan Clingan out of Connecticut. The 7'3" center comes in at 282 pounds and is only 20 years old. Clingan had an excellent season at UConn, helping them win back-to-back titles. And he is a described as a relentless competitor who protects the rim at a high level, has nonstop motor and passion for the game. In the NCAA tournament, Clifton averaged 15.3 points and 10 blocks per game while having 19 blocks over 6 contests. He really showed a great shot blocking and rim presence that the Houston Rockets could really use. There is a belief that Clifton can play well alongside Alperen Sengun, and the duo could be a very, very intriguing front court. This NBA draft class has been described as quite underwhelming by some, which leads to the next possibility, which is that the Houston Rockets may trade away their number 3 overall pick. According to Kelly Eichel of The Atlantic, some teams have reached out to the Houston Rockets about acquiring the number 3 overall pick in the draft. Quote, talks have been largely informal. The bulk of concrete offers likely won't come in until draft night, but a handful of teams have expressed interest in acquiring the pick, team and league sources told The Atlantic. Interested teams would either like to move up to number 3 or ones that would like to move up into the first round altogether, sources said. Houston has been surging lately, and whatever they decide to do, they will likely make at least the play-in tournament.
Well, that's all we have today. And thank you for listening and staying in tune to the Varsity Sports Show. We couldn't do this without you. With so much happening in Houston, it could be hard to choose which one to focus in on. The University of Houston has a lot on their hands, and so does all the professional teams that the city of Houston loves and supports. We also want to give a big thanks to Coach Jones for being able to interview with us, and we know that Gavin Beard will do great for Aledo High School as a starting quarterback for the next season. Big shout out to head coach of North Forest High School football and track team, Clifton Terrell. We know you got a lot on your hands, and we can't wait for you to keep striving and making things shake for the Bulldogs. And last but not least, thanks to Vype Media's Matt Malatesta for being able to be part of the show. You are always welcome here with open arms, and we would love to have every one of you come back again. Again, if you are interested in being an intern and pursuing a career in media, Varsity Sports Show is the show for you. Hit us up on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Or you can email us info@varsitysportsshow.com. Thanks again for joining us, and come back next Sunday morning, 9 a.m. on ESPN 97.5, 92.5 Houston. I'm Thaddeus Mitchell from Texas Southern University, and have a great week.
ESPN 97.5.